With such a large cast of characters in the world of the Transformers, their personalities make many of them stand out. From the paranoid Minibot, Cliffjumper,
Look out! Decepticon!
to the opportunistic Decepticon, Starscream,
Perhaps Megatron has finally made the one error which will make me Decepticon leader.
even the most obscure character could become memorable.
I am a bounty hunter searching for Decepticons who must be brought to justice. I have followed 3 of them here to Sheol.
With many of the Autobots transforming into sports cars, no other Autobot thinks he is better than everyone else than the egotistical warrior, Sunstreaker.
The star has arrived!
Consider supporting the channel on Patreon, becoming a channel member, or purchasing some merch on my Teespring store today. In 1980, Takara introduced the Diaclone toy line in Japan, a portmanteau of Diamond and Cyclone. The toys featured piloted transforming mechs. In 1982, a new subline was introduced known as Car Robots, featuring real-life licensed cars that transformed into fully fledged robot mechs. The very first of these was the super tuning customized Lamborghini Countach LP500S. The toy featured spring-loaded arms that could fire missiles or its fists, and had a police variant that was also sold as well. In addition, a second new Lamborghini Countach LP500S toy was released later in both red and yellow. Takara attempted to sell the first version in the US under the name Diacron in Christmas of 1983, but a lack of story and marketing did not fare very well. However, Hasbro licensed Takara's Diaclone and Micro Change toys to sell in the US under the name The Transformers in 1984. The original intention was to sell the super tuning mold in its original red color scheme as Sideswipe, with the newer mold in its yellow variant under the name Sunstreaker. As such, their character bios, as written by Bob Budiansky, gave them abilities based on their original toys. The air intakes on Sideswipe became his rocket pack. He can also fire missiles from his wrists, and he can switch out his fists for pile driver arms. Sunstreaker could fire a laser-guided ground-to-air rocket and had an electro gun. However, the finalized color schemes were switched, and the super tuning Countach was released as Sunstreaker in a new yellow deco, with many of the labels remaining the same, which explains why his shoulders are still red. The bios were also flipped as well, and as such, Sunstreaker was the calm and competent warrior whose ego makes him think he's the most beautiful thing on Earth. Boastful about his sleek styling, Sunstreaker shows contempt for the other Autobot cars, especially his twin brother, Sideswipe. First introduced in the Marvel Comics, Sunstreaker was among the Autobots aboard the Ark when it crash-landed on Earth 4 million years ago. Reawakening in the then-present day of 1984, Sunstreaker boasted about his looks while stating that any Decepticon who messes with his finish will get 2 ground-to-air missiles stuffed where they don't want them. While Sunstreaker rolled into battle alongside his brother Sideswipe, and he got to use one of his missiles on Skywarp, his appearance in the comic was all but brief. After the Decepticons attacked the Ark, Shockwave arrived and took all of the Autobots captive. After hanging most of the Autobots' bodies on the ceiling, Shockwave took command of the Decepticons from Megatron and used Sunstreaker as an example of his might, blasting him to pieces. Although Ratchet was able to rescue the Autobots and activate most of them, Sunstreaker remained in the repair bay. Jazz exclaimed that Ratchet wasn't even sure if Sunstreaker would ever be operational again. While Sunstreaker was not a prominent character in the pages of the Marvel Comics, he was regularly seen battling the Decepticons, usually alongside his brother Sideswipe in the cartoon.
Even with one arm, Prime is Primo!
Voiced by Corey Burton, Sunstreaker was also eager to get into battle,
Come on, guys! We've got to get those antimatter cubes before it's too late!
but regularly complained if something happened to his finish.
Hey! That's a new paint job! Man, that's hot!
Thanks for your help, brothers!
What about my my paint. Don't worry, nobody'll notice. Just make left turns.
Despite his ego, Sunstreaker was more than willing to take on a challenge,
I'll blast a few big D's for you, and you'll see what a difference a pro makes.
and he often learned how valuable a little teamwork from his friends could be.
Everybody can use a little help now and then, Sunstreaker.
Although Sideswipe had a removable jetpack that he could lend to Optimus Prime, Sunstreaker's was built in, which allowed him to help his brother do some jet judo on the Decepticon Seekers in the episode Roll For It. Although he doesn't think too highly of humans,
I knew the humans would turn on us someday. They're such undependable creatures, inferior life forms.
Sunstreaker saw the potential in the Autobots' human ally, Chip Chase.
Congratulations, Chip. You saved the day. You're a hero.
I am? I did? Really?
In Transformers the movie, Sunstreaker was seen helping Cup, Hound, Huffer, and Bluestreak with a roadblock. However, during the Battle of Autobot City, Sunstreaker was also seen helping Optimus Prime fly a shuttle to Earth and was present when they landed. While it was a simple animation error, we could say that the character present on Earth might have been the yellow Sideswipe character named Tiger Track, who was drawn incorrectly. While Sunstreaker survived the events of Transformers the movie, he was not present during Season 3 since his toy was discontinued. He did make a brief cameo appearance in the Japanese series The Headmasters. Since his toy was discontinued in 1986, Sunstreaker remained out of the picture until 1990, when his toy was reissued in Europe. This prompted Simon Furman to bring him back late into the comics run by having Grimlock use the power of Nucleon to revive many of the fallen Autobots when Unicron attacks Cybertron. Sunstreaker remained to fight alongside his fellow Autobots for the rest of the comics run, and even made a brief appearance in the Regeneration 1 comics. Sunstreaker was also part of the Magnificent Six in the out-of-continuity UK exclusive stories known as Earth Force. Unfortunately, after G1 ended, Sunstreaker was largely forgotten about throughout the Transformers franchise, as he was absent from the Beast era and the Unicron trilogy. A profile in the animated Allsparks Almanac even initially had a male Sunstreaker before switching him out for a female version of the character. Perhaps his ego upset the director of the G1 episode Hoist Goes to Hollywood, which even snubbed Sunstreaker from an appearance in live action.
I feel like a fool. Do you want to quit? No, but I still feel like a fool. Action!
As it turns out, his brother Sideswipe received all the attention through the years, and talking about him will have to be a discussion for another day.
Damn, I'm good.
While he may have been absent from television or movie roles, he has been regularly seen in the comics in a similar fashion to his G1 counterpart. In the Dreamwave comics, Sunstreaker was for the most part a supporting character to Sideswipe as they battled the Decepticons in San Francisco and the Insecticons in San Destro. Despite being difficult to get along with, Sunstreaker was still there when his brother needed him the most. He even used his ground-to-air missile to kill Kickback. In the IDW comics, Sunstreaker was among Optimus Prime's Autobot infiltration unit that arrived on Earth under Prowl's command. Although he saw humans as beneath him, he was still there to blast Decepticons. However, both Sunstreaker and their human friend, Hunter O'Nien, were captured by the Machination, an evil human organization led by the Decepticon Scorponok. They tortured and dissected Sunstreaker, cloning him into an army of Headmaster units. These units attacked the Autobots, and they even almost destroyed the Dinobots. Hunter himself was also turned into a Headmaster, but he was able to break free of the Machination's attempt at controlling his mind. Escaping in a Sunstreaker clone body and merged with the Autobot's mind, Hunter began raiding the Machination's bases, searching for Sunstreaker's real head. Sneaking into their main facility, they faced off against Scorponok, who was eventually defeated thanks to Hot Rod, Ultra Magnus, and the might of the Dinobots. Ratchet was able to disconnect the link between Sunstreaker and Hunter, and then rebuilt Sunstreaker, who unfortunately began reliving his torture under the hands of the Machination. Wishing the destruction of the human race, Sunstreaker brokered a deal with Starscream, which led to an ambush that forced the Autobots to go through a space bridge to Cybertron and severely injured Optimus Prime. While the Decepticons attacked New York City, the Autobots were left stranded, injured, and unsure of what to do next. Ironhide blamed Mirage, using his fists as retribution. They were then attacked by a massive swarm of Insecticons. To keep the swarm away from their base, the Autobots needed to detonate a bomb with close-range weapon fire to destroy the bridge. Sunstreaker's guilt weighed heavy on him as he confessed that he was to blame and not Mirage. To save his Autobot comrades, Sunstreaker blasted the bomb, along with himself and the swarm. Back on Earth, Hunter was kidnapped by the Decepticons, and his connection to Sunstreaker allowed Bombshell to find out the secrets of the Autobots. When the Autobots returned to Earth and defeated the Decepticons, Sideswipe found Hunter barely clinging on to life, so the Autobot pulled the plug on him, allowing Hunter to die. However, this wasn't the end of Sunstreaker, as perhaps his connection to Hunter allowed him to remain alive on Cybertron. After his own experience with death, an amnesiac Ironhide found Sunstreaker on Cybertron, who was repaired by Alpha Trion. The two remained on Cybertron to eliminate the Insecticon swarm. When they rejoined the Autobots, Sunstreaker kept a lone Insecticon as a pet, which he named Bob. Eventually, Sunstreaker and Bob joined the Lost Light crew on an intergalactic quest to find the Knights of Cybertron. After many interstellar adventures, Sunstreaker eventually returned to Cybertron and made amends with Mirage and Ironhide. Thanks to the enigma of combination, the trio, along with Prowl and Optimus Prime, were merged into the combiner Optimus Maximus to stop the threat of Devastator and Menasor. When the Decepticons invaded Earth under Galvatron's command, Sunstreaker was among the Autobots that accompanied Optimus Prime to put an end to the threat of the Decepticons. Galvatron had taken control of the Enigma as he created an army of combiners. Its power also merged Sunstreaker along with Thundercracker, Cosmos, Slugslinger, and Skylynx into Sky Rain. Fortunately, Superion was able to take control of the Enigma, which disabled the forced combiners. Sunstreaker remained part of Optimus Prime's crew through many battles. Unfortunately, his brother Sideswipe was fatally wounded in an ambush, and Sunstreaker was forced to pull the plug on his brother, allowing him to die in peace. Following the galactic rampage of Unicron, Sunstreaker thought of his brother as he happily watched Bob play with Thundercracker's dog Buster and DOC. Despite being left out of most media, Sunstreaker has had a few toys in the 21st century, including a hotel exclusive for the official Transformers Collectors Convention in 2003, the Alternators line, and even sharing a mold with Sideswipe in the Universe toy line. Although Optimus Maximus was inspired by the G1 episode Masquerade, Sunstreaker was chosen as one of the limbs in the Combiner Wars toy line. Sunstreaker has also received the Masterpiece treatment recently. Taking Sunstreaker back to his Diaclone roots, this MP figure was also redecoed into the Autobots' fuel specialist, Spinout, and the Autobot reserve trooper, Cordon, who regularly suffers from a glitch that wipes his memories. Sunstreaker has finally returned to toy shelves in the War for Cybertron trilogy's Earthrise toy line.
I'm transforming! I see my true beauty emerging!
Much like his Masterpiece toy, Sunstreaker's Diaclone counterparts, Spinout and Cordon, have been revealed as a Generation Selects 2-pack as well. Whether or not Mr. Ego will show up next to his brother Sideswipe in the Earthrise cartoon set to air on Netflix, we'll just have to wait and see.
There's more where that came from.
Get all mega dunce! Plenty more!
But what do you think? Has Sunstreaker been left out of too many Transformer series? And is he really as good as he says?
Sunstreaker, wait! You won't be able to get up enough momentum to clear that distance.
Don't worry, Prime! When they built me, they broke the mold!
Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you liked this video, be sure to thumbs up and subscribe. I'd like to thank my patrons and my channel members for your support. I have many more Transformers videos like this coming soon, so stay tuned. And as always, until next time, till all are one.
Why, you unwashed primitives! You could have figured my finish!